Thank you all for coming here tonight, both as participants and audience members and Green Newton members and people that just dropped in the door. We're going to get the show started right away because we've got a lot to accomplish, and I think you'll love all of it. So I'm going to turn it over to our MCs, Tiffany, Adela, and Rhea, and they will take you the rest of the way through. And thank you so much for being here.
Hi everybody, thank you for coming and welcome to our May Greening Our Community series. Today we're celebrating the great environmental work that kids like us have been doing all year long and Green Newton's achievements for over 25 years.
We help Green Newton reach out to kids of all ages and to help them learn and practice environmentally friendly actions at home, school, wherever, and to have fun doing it. We are the ones who will work to find a way to keep Newton green for the next generations. Who wouldn't want to be a wild boar?
Tonight, we have some special guests, along with students, teachers from Bowen After School Farm to Table program, Newton North and Newton South High Schools, and an SGW grad now at Brandeis University joining us. We are looking forward to showing you the fun and creative ways each of us have of making Newton greener.
And next up, we have Adventures in Recycled Art.
We're opening this evening's program with repurposed art, one way to reuse household items and make it fun. We met Kira and Jamie at the farmers market last summer during intern Jenny Wing's recycling survey project. They said they didn't recycle everything, and then they brought their artwork to the farmers market the next week.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Kira Evans.
Excellent.
And this is my invention. Instead of buying a watering can, we got an old water jug and turned it into a watering can. We put designs all over it.
Cool.
My brother and me love to recycle. And so this added an old bean can.
Yeah?
We planted a flower.
What kind of flowers?
Geranium.
That looks good. Very nice.
And instead of buying a pillow, I made a pillow out of my underwear.
Nice. And what else? You want to read that?
I made a poster about recycling.
Okay.
Recycling. There are lots of ways to recycle. One way is to use less plastic bags. Another way is to put lots of stuff in the recycling bin and not in the trash. But the most fun way is to make stuff out of trash. Make a pillow out of old clothes instead of buying pillows. There are lots of fun ways that can help the earth. One way is to use a bean jar to plant a flower and an old watering jug to water it. Then I will plant it. By Kira Evans.
Cool. Okay.
That's
Now,
me.
who's your buddy here?
This is my brother's Scare Squirrel.
Scare Squirrel. Oh yeah, I think we'll find out about that later. And can you read your brother's sign to us?
How to keep squirrels away from eating your tomato plants. Made with recycled items from your recycling bin. Feel free to take pictures so you can do this at home.
Bye.
Bye, Jamie.
Tell us about the Scare Squirrel. I've never seen one of those before. What is that? A pink squirrel?
That's the squirrel getting X'd out.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so tell us about the Scare Squirrel and how you came to make it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's tiny.
I wanted to make a scare crow. Then its head fell off.
Oh, excellent. Okay. That looks good.
I wanted to make a scarecrow, but then while I was making it, Patty was looking at the computer and found this on the printer.
Uh-huh.
So we printed it out and called it a scare squirrel.
Oh, cool. Now, who's Patty?
My babysitter.
Oh, okay. So tell us about what the scare squirrel is wearing.
He's wearing pants, socks, a Red Sox t-shirt, and a hat, and some gloves that do not match.
What? Okay. So that's very cool. And what's in the shirt? Is that from all the squirrels he ate?
Let's go find Daddy.
What?
There's a CVS bag right here. There's a CVS bag right there.
Yeah.
Well, Kira sets him back up again.
Okay.
And he has water bottles for floppy arms.
Excellent.
And a basketball for his head. And he kind of stole one of my t-shirts.
Oh, okay. Is he going to give it back?
No.
Oh, but at least he's a Patriots fan, right? Or a Red Sox fan.
Actually, he's a squirrel killing fan.
Okay, that works. Anything else?
Okay. Well, his hat is rolling away. His hat is a running hat, and his body's kind of floppy because, like, he's not in one piece. Yes.
Maybe he should eat some ice cream.
What do you people think you are? He's allergic to ice cream.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Well, while he's putting on his hat, he needs to get a drink of water.
All right.
Okay.
Hi.
Over and out.
Are we gonna do a
Say bye.
bye?
And next, Jonathan Tevet Morkelevich will tell us about the wonderful garden and greenhouse project at Bowen Elementary School and what they're learning.
The Bowen After School Care Program introduced its Farm to Market agricultural program in February of this year. This program includes students who are in grades from kindergarten to 5th grade on a voluntarily basis and is part of the Bowen After School's Makerspace. The most important component of our farm to market process is Bowen After School's composting program. Our composting program began in 2014 when students from BASCAP, under staff supervision, built our first composting bin. Now our program uses composting pails in addition to waste and recycling in order to develop healthy soil for our farm and encourage environmentally responsible practices. The Farm to Market program has begun with the selection of our 2 interns who are in charge of the daily responsibilities for maintaining the plant growth and health, while also assisting students who volunteer to work on our farm. The first step in working towards a fully functional farm was building our germination center. This was successfully completed with the assistance of our kindergarten and 1st grade students. Over the next few weeks, students in grades kindergarten to 5th grade have helped by planting seeds that will be placed in our germination center to be monitored over the coming month. Next, we began lengthy process of building our greenhouse to be placed on top of our school garden beds and used to harden the plants grown in the germination center so that they could withstand an uncontrolled environment. Once our greenhouse was and installed, we began transplanting our sprouts into larger vessels for continued root development and placed into our greenhouse. Most recently, we transplanted our more developed plants from the greenhouse into our garden beds and built supportive structures and fencing to encourage their development. The last phase of our program will be coming this June, when we will begin to harvest our seasonally manufactured plants for sale to the Bowen community, with all profits going back into our garden for its future development, such as a hydroponics unit.
Thank you. That's so cool. What a great program.
Newton South seniors Lauren Miller and Maria Hastings will show us what happens with litter and what should be done about it.
We are South seniors, and we take a marine biology class at our high school. And as part of the class, we have a final project at the end of the year, and our topic was ocean trash. And we wanted to focus specifically on plastics, because after doing research, that was kind of the main contributor, and because it takes so long to break apart, it's a huge problem. So do you want to, we came across the idea of the vertical garden.
Right, so we came across the idea of a vertical garden, which was, if you want to go back. So what we wanted to do is that the issue with plastic waste is that it's basically overflowing everywhere. Even though many people recycle, or many people that might not, it's still bound to end up in the ocean. And it's really affecting a lot of marine mammals, and it's putting their life in danger. So we wanted to think of an idea of other ways to reuse water bottles at home or any other plastic material. And so we thought, all right, why not make a boat out of a regular old plastic bottle, and basically use it as a planting pot. And so we made a huge board and started germinating some seeds and basically planted them in the water bottles.
So this is a basic model of what we had, but this is pretty big, so we didn't bring that.
And basically this idea was that we wanted to reach out to, we decided to go to Countryside and talk to first graders, which they were already actually well aware of what was going on. So they were up to speed on that. And we just wanted to make them aware and just show alternative ways to recycle plastic waste. And just little things that we can do as a community to help protect this issue and help protect the marine animals.
So I'd say our main objective with this project was to spread awareness. And like Maria said, I think that they had some sort of field trip earlier that month, and they were talking about all the ideas that they had and that they pursued at home, recreating things with old bottles or cardboard. So it was really cool, and they were asking a lot of questions. They had a lot of comments on what they were already doing, so it was very engaging.
And if you're thinking, all right, why did we want to talk to first graders? And our main message was, let's reach out to a younger generation. And it actually made us feel a lot better, because when we were speaking to them, they were very interactive, and even some of the kids were taking their own plastic water bottles, and I think they were making little houses out of it, and that was really awesome to hear.
Because I know I didn't do all of this when I was in first grade.
Me either.
So it's good that the message is already being passed down. So that was our main goal with the vertical garden. And with the poster that we made, we presented that to the kids. And our aim with that was to talk about kind of specifics on how the trash actually gets in the ocean, the specific effects that it has on the marine life, and then what we can do with that.
Right, because the main issue is that when plastic gets into our oceans, it releases so many toxic chemicals, and that's what puts a lot of marine mammals in danger because it gets them sick. Or even with like six-pack holders, turtles are very threatened by them because they can get caught or strangled by them. There's numerous plastic items that will end up in the ocean, and it's just important to know how toxic that they can be.
And when it affects marine life, it always trickles up, and it will affect us. And in years from now, our oceans could be completely covered in plastics and microplastics. So we want to raise awareness now and have people do their part now so we can prevent that from happening in the future. Yeah.
Thank you. What a great way to turn waste into art and gardening.
The Green Engineers are back. Let's find out what they're up to this year.
Hello, I'm Spencer Bowman, and I'm part of the Green Engineering program. And so we're all juniors at North, and this is all our third year in the program. And we're going to be talking a little bit about what we're doing sort of in the class. So go to the next slide. So it's just a little picture of our system. So basically what we want to do, and sort of the goals of our project, is to, number one, grow food. So this comes in two main forms. So one, we do grow tilapia in about a 140-gallon fish tank. So right now we have 24 tilapia that we hope to be able to eat by the end of the year. In addition, in the top tank, you can see that we are growing some food. So that mainly consists of kale, basil, mint, and then also some spring peas. And sort of that's sort of one of the second thing that we're trying to do is sort of automation and ease of use. There is a lot of sort of chemistry and biology that goes into preserving a system like this, and so we're trying to implement ways to make the system self-regulate many of like the pH levels and sort of the food that is needed for the fish, and sort of make this system really easy to use even if you don't know a lot about aquaponics. And then another goal is just to have this be a permanent feature in green engineering that younger kids and newer classes can come in and right away get their hands on fully functioning aquaponics system and learn a lot about them and test out their ideas of aquaponics with this thing. And then in addition, we use recycled materials to build this tank. This is mainly made out of pallets, and so that sort of sticks with the message of green engineering.
So what is aquaponics? It is essentially a self-sustaining ecosystem that's compiled of three main parts. One being fish. The fish waste fertilizes the plants, and the plants are the products of the system. This system can live completely off the grid, alone, not needing very much attention.
So you may be wondering why you need this stuff. And for places like California, Texas, places in major drought areas, something like aquaponics can really help cut down on water usage. In fact, an aquaponics system can use up to 90% less water than traditional agriculture techniques that are used in the business today. In addition, you can cultivate fish, which help grow the plants, obviously. So that the dual use of the water for both the plants and the fish make it a more useful and easy-to-use system. And also, not only can you grow fish and plants at the same time, you can use it all year round, 365 days out of the year. You can do it in cities, in towns, in your own home. So you don't necessarily need open plains or open fields. It's very sustainable since you don't need much. You don't need hydroton, which are just small clay pebbles. You don't need dirt, and yeah.
So how can you make a system? It's pretty straightforward. All you need is some sort of container to hold some water. You need something to hold the seeds, what you're growing. Again, like Jack said, the hydroton or rocks, which the seeds will be laying in. And then artificial sunlight, that's key. We actually use a LED panel above our system, which was not pictured there. But, and then also you need fish.
And then just sort of on a more general scheme, sort of the importance of green engineering as a program. So I think this is our second or third year presenting here. And really well, this might not have the biggest global impact in terms of the individual projects, what we're doing. What it really is doing is sort of educating kids and educating high school students on that if you put in some work and some research, that you can really make a project and really learn a lot and create systems that in the future can create large economic and sort of environmental changes. And a lot of these practices are actually what is agriculture is turning into. And sort of what this program allows kids to do is to really do a lot of research and do a lot of practice and really practical and sort of what the world is going to look like in the future. So a lot of our projects are sort of related to how can we make this world a greener place? And even if this small little project isn't going to change the entire environmental sort of sphere, that this project will educate people so that in the future that they can really be the ones pushing forward in innovation.
Hello. My name is Matt Rabin, and I'm a junior at Newton North.
And I'm Andrew. I'm also a junior at Newton North.
We are another branch of green engineering, and we're working on a relatively new project for green engineering. It's brand new this year, and this is the Beco Hub's bike shelter. So the idea came around a few months ago when we noticed that a lot of kids at our school wouldn't bike to school when it was rainy or it was hot, or in a few months ago it was really cold. And this prevented a lot of people from biking, and a lot of people just drove to school. So our ideas behind this was we want to encourage kids to bike to school more often and have a place to keep them during the day. And when they leave school, it wouldn't be soaking wet or it wouldn't be burning hot. This also gave us an opportunity to incorporate solar power into it, which we'll show a few gadgets later that we are planning to include in the final product.
So this is where we started. I just found a random picture online on Google, and we went from there. We made some changes to reflect our own personal choice, design, and likes, and yeah, just kind of did some models and SketchUps and SketchUp.
So our second stage in prototyping was to go into SketchUp and actually make a really detailed and to-scale model. And those are the ones, the top two and the one on the bottom right. Those are to-scale, and it was an earlier model. The bottom on the bottom left is made in Blender, so it's very aesthetically good-looking, but it's not very useful when we're making an actual product. So some additional features that we're actually going to have on it is that we get to have solar panels on top of the roof because it's going to be slanted. This allows us to have lighting so people can use this at night, especially when people are doing programs during the night. And we're also planning to have an air compressor, which enables people to pump their tires up really easily.
So for materials, we're going with a wooden design, and while the trailer is a bit small right now, it's not officially complete. We have a few other things we need information to gather on, and so right now this is really what we have. We have the beam and post, and we need a few more joists and a few things just to get a major scope for material costs and everything else.
So a really big issue with this project has been logistics. And we have to jump over a few more hurdles before this project is completed. So one of the things we've been thinking about is that at our school we have a carpentry department, and at Green Engineering we really lack space and materials and tools, but we were very creative. But they have they have the space for us to produce this, and the materials to us really make this possible. But some things that we are going to handle within the next few months is that we still need to get some school approval. We still have to get PTSO approval, but we're planning to get those through within the next few months, and we'll start construction in the fall, hopefully.
So yeah, going off what Matt said, what's to come, we do have a proposal in the work, just more stuff, more concrete evidence of why this is helpful for green engineering and for the Newton North, the Newton community, and some other stuff, just getting funding, because it isn't going to be, it's going to be a very expensive project, so we do need money for that.
Thank you very much.
This year, Newton South High School was selected to participate in the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization Conference, which gave 5 students the opportunity to tackle the ever-increasing issue of climate change. John Floros and Maria Calderon will tell you the rest of the story.
Hi guys, I'm John Floros. I'm a junior at Newton South.
And I'm Mia. I'm also a junior at South.
So just as they started to explain, we were invited to the UNESCO conference. Me and I worked with 3 other seniors at the school, Kiki, Noah, and Krish. And this conference was in Portugal in January. It was 4 days, but it was a 10-day trip. And we met with 15 other schools from 7 different countries to talk about climate change. We all had to come up with a project or research to bring to this conference. And we discussed the project and our ideas, all revolving around climate change, to put our ideas out there and to collaborate. And it was a fascinating experience. We're going to take the next 10, 15 minutes or so to explain to you what we did and what our experience was like. So it took probably about 4 meetings or so, a lot of talking, a lot of communication. But we ended up coming up with our central theme of worldwide connections, global connections. This was a global conference, and so we thought, what better way than to come together and describe how each country relates to one another through climate change. So here, as you can see, actually, I should also explain. This was in around October, and what was just hitting the news was how the Great Barrier Reef in Australia was starting to die out. And so we thought, what better way than to show how a forest in Massachusetts, for example, could affect the dying out of the Great Barrier Reef all the way in Australia. And you can see that with that line going across the map right there. And so we thought we would try to do an awareness project to display not only that connection, but the other worldwide connections at South itself. These are a few pictures highlighting our work. Here in the top left, this is us putting together like the map that you just kind of saw in the last slide. And then here, this is in one of the hallways at our school. We spent weeks painting cardboard panels that were then placed against the brick wall. And we painted them to try to show the Great Barrier Reef. So as you can see here, this is our painting, our work. On the other side is the UNESCO slogan, or UNESCO letters. And then we also constructed this 50-foot tree made out of cardboard as well. We reached out to the science classes, and we had them write on little index cards that make up the leaves that you see on the tree, as well as, and it's a little tough to see, but there are strings hanging from the tree that are connecting all the way from the 3rd floor of the school down to the ocean panels down below. And on these cards, the children, or the kids wrote how climate change affects them. And so they were able to read, those cards, as well as, and you'll see hopefully later on in the presentation, examples of these cards. And so here we wanted to show this message of a literal forest in Massachusetts connecting to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. It was we wanted to display this metaphor. It was up for probably a solid 3-4 weeks. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is just an example of one of I guess 2 cards. People did a variety of different things. People would draw pictures, people would do poems, people would write thoughtful paragraphs about what climate change means to them. And we wanted to make sure we were as involved in the community as we could be.
So we also had to present our research in Portugal, and we continued to do research about the connections. So here, our big theme was, how does a forest in Massachusetts connect to the coral reefs in Australia, seemingly faraway places? So here we have some information about the forests in Massachusetts. They cover about 60% of Massachusetts right now. And Massachusetts is working to become a carbon neutral or even carbon negative state, which is very beneficial to the Earth. It means we're actually taking in more carbon than we're producing as a state. So about 3 million acres absorbs 43 million tons of carbon per year, and that's very beneficial. So we're looking at 60% covered, which can really help and have a worldwide impact. So keep planting those trees. So here's some information about the Great Barrier Reef. So it's a home to over 16,000 aquatic species, except this image on the right here, it's not very well depicted. But so there's red, yellow, and then green. The red, almost 99% of the coral reef is bleached, which means, so the carbon that is released into the air, most of it is actually absorbed into the ocean, and then it makes the ocean very acidic because it forms carbonic acid. So this carbonic acid bleaches the coral. It kills the polyps, which are the living parts of the coral. And here, December 2015, this is a living, healthy coral. And then all the way May 2016, so just over a year later, it's completely dead. All the polyps are dead, and you have this awful looking bleached coral. It's white. This isn't a very good picture. But even in the green sections in this picture up top going back, so 99% is bleached in the red sections, the hazardous sections, but 75% is bleached in the green sections, the better looking sections of the reef. So much of the reef is bleached and is threatening, dying out at this point.
So I believe we do have enough time. We just want to show a quick 3-minute video or so. This is what we showed, or half of it is actually what we showed to the science classes at South. This is what we got. This is how we got them to write on these cards to explain how climate change affects them. And then we went a step further, and after we read those cards, we actually went out and talked to a few of those kids at South to talk one-on-one on how climate change affects them. This video we also brought with this presentation to Portugal, and we showed it to the international kids as well. So let's see if that should.
In January, we are representing Newton South and the United States at the United Nations Climate Change Conference for Youth Scientists.
And we need your help.
We want to bring as many of your voices to the conference as possible.
As your peers, we'd like you to take 5 minutes of your time to tell us how climate change affects you and your life.
You can talk about the impact of climate change on your life, something you've done to help fight it, or anything that evokes the spirit of climate change in you.
All in a sentence, a sketch, a haiku, maybe avoid interpretive dance.
In a couple of weeks, all of your creative ideas will be incorporated into our awareness art project that will be on display in the 1000 staircase.
These responses will help us illustrate the web of connections that make climate change the biggest issue of all time.
We're really excited to see your ideas, and we can't thank you enough for helping us represent Newton South.
So we keep waiting on the world to change.
Climate change is going to kill us if we don't do something. That's pretty important.
I feel like climate change is one of the best examples of how short-term our thinking is.
I think it should be a priority of the United States and of the global community.
The country that my family's from in the Middle East, they have farms there, and the farms are being desertified.
People say all the time, well, climate change doesn't affect me, so I don't have to care about it. But what I think people don't understand is it's a serious disservice to any generation after us.
It gets like really, really warm, and then we have like really, really cold winters. It's like either or.
Well, my family tries to recycle as much as we can. We try to like not leave lights on too long.
It's certainly an issue that's near and dear to my heart, and I think as science educators, the people in my department are ready and raring to dig into this and try to build students' literacy around this.
We should do everything in our power we can to make sure that climate change is dealt with, because if we don't, we're all going to die, eventually.
In conclusion, really the greatest threat to human civilization is climate change.
People killing, people dying, children hurt and you hear them crying. Can you practice what you preach and would you turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. These people got me questioning, where is the love, the love, the love?
Those last quotes that you saw at the very end of the video, those also were quotes taken from the cards written by the students at the school.
So we're going to continue to look at the connections. It's not just Massachusetts to Australia, but it's everywhere. Everything we do to help climate change, to hurt climate change, it all is affected somewhere. So here we're going to look at Texas in the US and how it connects to a seemingly far away place, Argentina. So cattle industry is a big part of Texas. But there's been a large drought recently due to climate change and irregular weather patterns. So it hasn't been able to support the cattle industry as much as it has in the past. So these cattle have had to move to places like Argentina and Brazil, where water is more readily available. Excuse me. So it's moving cattle to new environments, changing the environments there, changing the culture there, as well as, taking jobs and, wildlife out of, well, wildlife in a sense, out of the U.S., simply because there isn't enough water to support them. So now we're going to look at, we had to include Portugal in the presentation because this is where we went. So Portugal is the largest per capita consumer of fish per year, and they have a lot of cold water cod. But recently the waters in Portugal have become warmer and warmer over the years. So the fish are moving north towards Finland and Norway. So again, Portugal is losing their one of their largest industries as fish exporters, simply because the waters are too warm to support the wildlife that used to live there in such abundance. And finally, Brazil, deforestation, going back to that. There's a lot of deforestation in Brazil, which is affecting the climate there, so there is actually less rain. And hydropower is a huge source of energy for Brazil. But now that there isn't as much water being produced due to precipitation, they're looking to Angola for sources of petroleum and oil as sources of energy. So not only are they burning more oil and petroleum, which of course is not good for the environment, but there's deforestation being caused. The cost to ship all the petroleum and oil from Angola to Brazil when the water could be used as a renewable source of energy.
We don't have time to see this, but this is a longer 15-minute video that we highly encourage you to go home and watch if you have any interest in finding out more and seeing more of what we did, go more into depth, kind of more about what we were talking about today. So if you just go to YouTube, you can either write down that really long, obnoxious link, or you can just search on YouTube, like Newton South High School UNESCO final video. We highly encourage you to check it out. It was a fascinating experience that we want to share with everyone and get this message across that climate change is a serious issue that needs to be dealt with today. So again, kind of reiterating what we said before, what we have achieved is we had this awareness project that we worked really hard on to convey the importance of climate change through these web of connections that Mia talked through, and we were very proud of the end result. So thank you all so much. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. What a great experience for everyone.
SJW Wild Boar alum Donnie Davidoff is back this year to tell us about the new environmental group at Brandeis.
Hi, I'm Donnie Davidoff, and has been said, I was an SJW back a few years ago, and now I just finished my sophomore year at Brandeis. I'm on the e-board of Students for Environmental Action, or SEE, which is the main environmental club at Brandeis. We meet every Wednesday evening, around 20 or 30 people, and we get together, and at the beginning of every semester, we brainstorm, come up with a whole list of 30 or 40 different ideas of projects we can do to make our campus greener, and we vote on them, and we end up splitting into 3 different committees for 3 different projects every semester to work on various environmental initiatives. So I'm going to talk about the 3 we did this semester. The first one was food waste. So that group measured awareness about food waste on campus. They went into the dining halls, behind the scenes, and actually measured what students were wasting and not eating and putting on their plate and not and throwing away. And they measured it to help raise awareness. They also worked at the Festival of the Arts that Brandeis has every spring. And that this year happened to be themed after sustainability, and they had a campaign called Produce Positivity, and for that, and they also wrote an article in our school, one of our school newspapers, The Justice, which is on the next slide. So they worked writing an article about food waste on campus, which is a huge issue across the dining halls and across campus in general and school-wide events. So the second initiative that was worked on this semester was the Vegetarian Initiative. They worked on a vegetarian day in the dining halls. They made pamphlets and leaflets to put around the dining halls to talk about the vegetarian lifestyle. They worked with Sodexo, who is our campus food provider, to talk about more meal options for vegetarians on campus. And yeah, the day was very successful. It was a Thursday. It's no longer a coming Thursday, it's a past Thursday, but it got a lot of great feedback about the different choices that they had and really working with our food provider, Sodexo, on making it easier for vegetarians on campus. And the last one was what I participated in, the Earth Week initiative. This year we had a whole group that worked just on Earth Week, and we tabled in the campus center, the SEC. So every day we actually got back to school from spring break on that Wednesday. And so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday were themed differently. And so for the water day, we had people taste the difference between bottled water and tap water, and they couldn't really tell the difference. And on plant day, we gave out little plants and little pots that people could decorate and bring home to their dorms. And on the last day, we showed people with energy how much they're different. You can have them plug in their different devices that you use, such as your computer charger and your phone charger, to see how much energy that uses. And on the last day, which was Saturday, we sent a group to the protest in Boston, or the March for Science over Earth Day, to join the greater Boston community in Earth Week. And there were two things that weren't initiatives that we kind of did as a big group together this semester, and one of those was Give and Go 2017. So when students move out at the end of the semester, there's always a lot of things that you see piling in the hallways, old clothing, old furniture that they can't fit in their bags, on their planes, on their trains, and they just want to get rid of it, and they leave it all over the hallways, and it's a mess. So this year, we made a campaign to put boxes across residence halls, across campus, where students could donate these items, and we collected a lot and lots of piles and piles of bags of old clothing to donate to Salvation Army. And the last thing that we do as a club is we organize this day called DICIC, Brandeis or DICE Sustainability Ideation Challenge, every fall. This year will be our second one this coming October, and last October was our first. And we're lucky enough to have an entire fund by the university, the Brandeis Sustainability Fund, that students can propose ideas and initiatives making campus greener. And usually it's only C using this fund, so we wanted to really promote awareness of this fund and have more students use this money and really make campus a greener place. So on this day on DICIC, we have a whole day of programming where we feed everyone, and we bring teams and mentors and judges and faculty and staff from all across campus to talk about campus sustainability and different ideas of how to make campus greener. And by the end of the day, students get together in teams and propose ideas to BSF, to the fund. So yeah, that was all the things that SC has done this semester.
And in case you are wondering what the SDW Wild Boars have been doing this past year, here's a quick look for those of you who didn't get to see these before the program. And they're in the exhibit in the hallway too.
Today I'm going to talk about what are the Wild Boar Awards and why are we called the Wild Boars. So we are called the Wild Boars because sometimes we behave like the naughty but well-meaning and cookie-loving characters in the children's book Wild Boars Cook and Meet Wild Boars. Surely you'll note that they are as charming as we are. But even better, we later learned about the Hindu myth of Vishnu, who turned himself into a wild boar to save the earth from a demon. So we do have some environmentally redeeming qualities.
Our coveted Wild Boar Awards are presented to well-deserving individuals who have helped us and numerous other students over the years. As we present each one with a lovely certificate designed by Sophie Magidson, they will also receive a parsley plant for 2 reasons. One, parsley is the symbol of festivity in the language of plants and flowers, and along with the educational aspects of their influence, they've all made it fun for us and others. 2, they'll always remember us. Who else would give a parsley plant as an award? Tom Ashley, Dancing Bear Farm in Leiden, Mass. Many of you have met Tom at the Newton Farmers Market over the years and bought lots of goodies from him, including fig trees and specially decorated Halloween pumpkins. In addition, Tom has brought at least half of the 200+ entertaining caterpillars at Green Newton's booth and cheerfully answered questions from kids of all ages about plants, bugs, pumpkins, and more. We are delighted to present Tom with our first Wild Boar Award of 2017.
So next up, we have Will Chamberlain and Ellie Weiss. We met Will and Ellen earlier this spring when we were invited to the Bowen's annual Science Day program. As you see, they do amazing things at the school with the Farm to Table program and their students. We're glad to present them both with our 2017 Wild Boar Awards.
All right, the next one is Stephanie Pavow and Molly Widrick, Newton South UNESCO team advisors.
She has a split personality. She's going to be both these people to do.
Up next, we have Sally Rosen, a Newton South science teacher. We have teamed up with Ms. Rosen before in her previous presentations here and at Newton South's Earth Day. Several SGWs have been her students. In addition, Ms. Rosen was awarded Green Decade's 2010 Environmental Leadership Award to an individual, making her only the 3rd person in the history of the universe to receive both awards, along with Mr. Dirk Detelfsen at Countryside and Ms. Andy Danberg at Newton North. Thanks and congratulations to you and your team. So for this next award, this happened at the last second, so we don't have much prepared. We do have a parsley plant, but this reward is for Mr. Peliquin, the Newton North Green Engineering teacher. He was my teacher freshman year, and he really is responsible for inspiring me to think more about the environment. And yeah, he's really inspiring and a great math and green engineering teacher. So thank you.
And you'll get, wait, get in here. This is your teacher. And you'll get your certificate later this week because it's sitting in my garage.
I get 2 of them?
Yeah, that's.
Our last 2 Wild Boar Awards this year go to 2 unsuspecting guys who have made all of our Wild Boar programs go smoothly over the years, miking us up, making sure the technology works, and putting each one on new TV and our website. Thank you to Miles Smith, sound engineer, and Tom Boyd, video guy, for your dedication and patience.
Full disclosure, I'm married to this one, and I know how much time goes into putting this together.
You just saw some of the SGW activities from the past 12 months. Now we'd like to give you a look on what's happened over the past 10 years. One of our favorites, SGW by the numbers.
In 2007, Students for a Greener World begins.
We have more than 60 SGW members as of May 2017.
We represent 12 schools so far. Over 100 SGW meetings have been held since November 2007.
We've only had to cancel one SGW meeting, and that was in February 2015, thanks to snow.
We've eaten about 4,600 cookies at SGW meetings and events, and we've eaten 59 clementines.
Over 750 students' entries were submitted to the EnviroArt and essay contests, and 15 of those artists joined SGW.
We have 11 entertaining videos for you to see on our website, including What is SGW? SGW annual program since 2010. And of course, the cult classic Caterpillar song.
We've written at least 25 articles about SGW for Green News or school papers.
Between 2008 and 2010, our Newton Serves Business Recycling Project has taken place in 5 Newton villages, with over 60 businesses and organizations participating.
We have collected over 300 pairs of sneakers at our Newton Serves Sneaker Reuse and Recycling Project from 2015 to 2017. The usable shoes are distributed to area Head Start programs by our friend Marianne Green.
We have made at least 250 pinecone bird feeders at Spring in My Backyard workshop since 2011.
Many animals have participated in SGW events, such as
250 caterpillars,
9 chickens, thanks to the Avery Needham and Hawk families, plus Mikey Korn of Countryside Elementary.
4 bunny rabbits, thanks to Audrey Gagnon and Melissa Sullivan.
1 turtle, the one and only Wolverine.
1 tortoise named Teddy.
A guinea pig named Fuzzberry.
And 2 Berkshire blue rats from our own Audrey Kisson.
We've collected 18,000 corks for recycling in partnership with Whole Foods since 2012.
3 library exhibits showcase SGW and Newton School's green activities out in the hallway, including this year's exhibit through the end of May.
There have been 6 chicken races at the library in this room.
We do a zillion and 1 outreach activities each year in Newton.
There have been 39 Wild Boar Awards presented since 2013 to teachers and others who have helped us teach kids about being green.
Supportive SGW parents and families, all of them. Thank you.
This year, we have 7 seniors graduating. This is the part that Margaret likes to do, so we'll turn it over to her.
Jenny Horsberg was here earlier, but she had another conflict. We just met her a year ago. She and Ben headed up the Emerald Haiku workshop here in the library last year. She's also participated in Earth Day. You can see Ben and Jenny and Fariha with, yes, that is Allison Leary, City Council member, and the Polar Bear, of course, over at Earth Day. And then Jenny is also big, her whole family is into tree planting and nature, so there she is, apparently planting her mother in the sidewalk on Tree Day. Fariha was also supposed to be here as one of our MCs tonight, and she got sick with some bug that is going around, so she has been with us for 3 years. She's done the farmers market, she's helped at the STEAM Expo. One of the coolest things she ever did was help collect AP books, study books, and take them over to this place in Waltham called More Than Books, where they can be used by students for the next year. So neither one of them could be here, but they will still get their rosemary plants. We give our graduating seniors rosemary plants because rosemary is the sign of remembrance, and we want them always to remember us. Nastasha came to us last summer as one of the mayor's interns, and she helped out at the farmer's market, did a wonderful study on composting, and then she brought her little brother in to be a wild boar, but he's got a play date tonight, apparently, so she's not there. She's also done the farmer's market, which is one reason we asked her to introduce Dancing Bear earlier. And she did the aforementioned farmers market survey. So Rhea also just came to us in the last couple of years, and her first activity with us was with the Green Expo. And you can see her with the other. She's also done this event for us in the last couple of years. She is going to American University after a gap year. And Tiffany, we've got some lovely pictures of you up there. Tiffany's first assignment was at a Touch-a-Truck thing. If you've ever been to that over at Newton South, that is a zoo. And as you can see, she is teaching small children and a polar bear to drive a Prius. She has also been one of our MCs more than once. She is also on an international fencing team, so she doesn't get to come to many of our meetings, but that picture is, she's about the 8th grade, and she's teaching a senior over at Newton North how to do it right. And then also she likes to eat cookies, as you can tell. She's part of the Cookie and Caterpillar Club. Okay, so that is Tiffany, and she is going to NYU along with Fariha. Okay, we saved Adela for last because I have known Adela since dinosaurs roamed the earth. I met her in 2009 when she submitted this neat picture upstairs. That's all bottle caps that say Save the Earth, and she's got a little clothesline of pins, and it won her first place in her grade. So she got invited to Mayor Cohen's press conference. That's how long ago this was, with the other winners. Check out the look on her face. She is thrilled. So then she did it again the next year, but we had a new mayor. In fact, Adela and I are now on our second mayor and our second president as a team. So she won again that year, again with the bottle caps, but with a whole different message. She also did the Touch-a-Truck thing, and as you can see, she's in the passenger seat in the car on the bottom with another wild boar who I think graduated from Newton South last year. Then there's the biodegradable clothing survey. I don't know how many of you were here for that, but our program theme that year was like a news program, WSGW News, and she did interviews and surveys about people who would use biodegradable clothing. And we had some nice organic cotton shorts on the one side and some really lovely ones wrapped in bubble wrap that actually some people opted for. So it was very entertaining. She's been to a million SGW meetings. She helped design the SGW shirt with the boar on it. And she moved from art contestant to art committee and designed one of our most memorable posters when she was, what, about 12? So anyway, this is what we're talking about. You can watch Adela grow up, so we're going to miss you. So, Adela Miller. I think that's all of them, but you never know.
Thanks to all of our presenters and thanks to you all for coming. We hope you enjoyed seeing what students have been doing for the environment and how can it be fun.
You've got to treat your planet well. The actions that you take are more important than you know. You've got to treat your planet well. The actions that you take are more important than you know. When you're in the shower, try to keep it short. Why use a gas